Some stocks keep rallying so hard and so consistently that it seems like they're almost unstoppable. Take Cramer fave Actavis, symbol ACT, the large cap pharmaceutical company that's seen its stock climb over 400% over the last 3 years. It's up nearly 25% since we last spoke to the CEO past November. Here's a company that appears to have discovered a tried and true method for creating value. Actavis is a serial acquirer. In 2013, it bought Warner Chilcott in a brilliant tax inversion deal that allowed the company to change its domicile to Ireland, where corporate tax rates are much lower. Last July, the company closed on its $25 billion purchase of Forest Labs. And 4 months ago, Actavis announced it was acquiring Cramer fave Allergan for $66 billion in a deal where many people thought the company was dramatically overpaying. I didn't, yet Actavis stock has been on fire since the news was announced. And it closed the deal today. The new post-Allergan Actavis is now the fastest-growing major dynamic pharmaceutical company on Earth. They now have Allergan's terrific pipeline, along with its many great eye care and medical aesthetic franchises, not to mention the pipeline in a product that is Botox, which has gone from being a way to get rid of wrinkles to a medication that treats migraines, overactive bladder, and has many other uses that we're just exploring that I want to talk about. Actavis is now a powerhouse, and I think the Allergan deal will prove to be incredibly additive to their earnings. Don't take it from me. Let's check in with Brent Saunders, the incredibly active president and CEO of Actavis. Find out more about where his company is headed now that it's acquired Allergan. Mr. Saunders, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thank you for having me, Jim. It's a happy St. Patrick's Day and a good day for an Irish company to close a deal with Allergan.
Oh, man, you took the words out of my mouth. That was my whole thing. I was going to say happy St. Patrick's Day because of the tax status. Let's go to something that I think people really want to know. You know that David Pyatt had been on our show more than any other CEO, the CEO of Allergan, and he always stressed research and development. Now, you have always stressed productive research and development, but from what I can see, you're keeping that budget the same. How do you rationalize the Brent Saunders who says, listen, we got to be really constructive and productive, with the Pyatt budget, which some people would say, didn't produce the results that many people were hoping for?
Yeah, first let me say David Pyatt is a first-class CEO. He's one of my favorites as well as yours, and he did a fantastic job over 17 years. I think the difference in opinion really is around discovery research versus development research and formulation science and other components of R&D. First, R&D is the lifeblood of our industry, and it's critical that we commit to investing in that as Actavis Allergan. What we don't necessarily agree on is the true value of discovery research. I believe that we should do discovery research only when we bring something competitive and special to the table. So in areas like CNS or GI, we're not going to do discovery research. But in areas that Allergan was quite good in, aesthetic medicine or ophthalmology or eye care, we're going to stay in discovery research because we have a competitive advantage.
Okay, well, one of the things I think, let's just cut right to it. The cover story in Forbes, I have mixed emotions about it, frankly, because I think there's some things that portrayed you as being a little bit too Top Gun oriented versus whom I think I know you are. This headline, this giant drug firm won't invent medicines, investors are cheering. I didn't hear that from you. I just heard you'll invent medicines when it's right to invent medicines.
Well, in fact, we have been one of the most productive companies in inventing medicines. Over the last 5 years, we have, I think, close to 14 NMEs approved as a combination company, which puts us at the top of the list versus any other company. And just yesterday, we had a new NDA for Vibrate approved, and 2 weeks ago, we had a novel antibiotic approved, as well as a new IUD approved that was very novel. So we are in the business of discovering new drugs and bringing new drugs to market.
Now, there's one of the things that David taught me was that if they could get this DARPin study right, if they could get DARPin right, it would be huge. When I look at these outsized numbers that people are using, I mean, really the stretch $25 a share, which would mean your stock is about $100 undervalued. They don't include, you're not even including DARPin, are you?
No, DARPin's all upside. DARPin, if we can continue the development program, which we all are optimistic that we can, and we will commit to investing in it pending good data this second quarter. That's all upside, and that could be the largest drug for both either historic Allergan or Actavis ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I thought that Mr. Pyatt's spending on R&D is going to really pay off. Now, let's talk about Botox. We have long believed, and David taught us, that Botox is a pipeline in itself. We have always felt that they were just, honestly, I'm not kidding, maybe in 1 quarter of the development of what this company can do with Botox. Tell me about some of the things you're working on right now that you think Botox can do that nobody even thought could happen, say, 3 years ago.
Well, I think one of the things that I think most people don't understand is that Botox has more sales in its therapeutic classes than it does in its aesthetic class. About 55% therapeutically and about 45% of the sales come aesthetically. And so when we look at areas like migraine and overactive bladder, they are really driving a lot of the growth on top of aesthetics. In the future, as you just mentioned, there's still so many more opportunities for Botox. A big one that we're looking at right now is depression. And we have some early studies that show that the impact of Botox on depression is quite meaningful.
Depression? That's the first time I've heard of this.
Depression. Yes.
Really? No, I'm not kidding. I know this drug. I was thinking about it for pelvic. I was thinking about it for sweaty palm. I was thinking about it for a bunch of nervous conditions, but I never thought of it just outright as depression, which we know is the biggest unmet need in America today.
It is, and as you know, it's one of our core areas.
Right.
Our legacy with Forest goes back to Lexapro, and today we have Vibrant and Fitsema and a whole bunch of drugs for depression. So if there was ever a company that could take Botox to depression, it's this new combined entity. And again, it's phase 2 studies, but they look encouraging, and we're going to continue to understand how we take it into phase 3.
But why do you use the aspirational earnings per share? I mean, you are definitely a growth pharma, but a lot of what you're doing is putting tremendous pressure on yourself, a $25 number. I mean, you're a growth pharma without using that number. Why put a gun to your head like that?
Yeah, so I didn't view it as putting a gun to our head. When we looked at putting that $25 out, that was based purely on the deal model. And the deal model had some fairly conservative forecasts around the cost of borrowing, which we did much better with our share count, which we did much better with because the stock went up as we sold some of the equity for this deal. And then it also had no revenue synergies in it. And so we believe that the strategic combination of these two companies create huge opportunities, for example, in Latin America or Asia or Europe, where we can really leverage the company's infrastructure around the world. So we feel pretty confident with an aspiration of $25. As we now have closed the company, we'll work to put formal guidance together in a few months, and then we'll come back to you and Wall Street and confirm that guidance.
Well, thank you, Brent. It's not the luck of the Irish. Clearly, it's the skill of the Irish. This has been an amazing stock. It's not stopping here. Brent Saunders, President and CEO of Actavis, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're the man of the hour. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah.
All right, if you don't believe me, I want you to go check the conviction buy that Goldman Sachs put out. It's a terrific note. It makes it very, very clear to me that there is so much more ahead. If you valued this stock like Bristol Myers, you would not believe how high it can go. I'm not even going to share it. They have money's back after the break.